Hello and welcome to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. I am your host, Matthew Loomis. This show is sponsored by buildyourownblog.net, the full-service destination for people who want to start their own WordPress blog and achieve long-term success. Visit buildyourownblog.net to start your new blog today. My guest today is 86 years old, and she tells me she is enjoying life more than she ever has before. She's been a writer for 50 years. She has written 7 books. They're all available online. And at her age, she has no plans of slowing down. She is starting 2 new novels, and she wants to start a blog. And she is now starting a new career as a television commentator on a local TV station in her community. Despite her not having a blog, I invited her on the Blog Chronicles today because of her career as a freelance writer and self-published author, which I know many listeners are interested in writing, which is why you're interested in blogging. And I also invited her on because she has such an amazing attitude for someone her age. She has a lot of spunk, and she is entertaining and has done inspiring things in her writing career. So let's get our chronicle on today with future blogger, 86-year-old Lura Zerick. And one quick note for this show, I normally use Skype to record these interviews, but Ms. Zerick did not use Skype, and she's on a landline. So the quality of audio is a little bit different and maybe not quite as good as normal, but it's still adequate and it's still something that you can hear and make out. So I just wanted to let you know that was the situation with this particular episode. So you should be able to still hear what she says, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Hello, is this Lura Zerick?
Yes, it is.
Hello, Laura. This is Matthew Loomis with Build Your Own Blog.
Yes.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Beautiful blue sky, sunny day, cool but pleasant.
Oh, sounds beautiful.
It is.
You're down in Alabama, I believe, right?
Yeah, by choice, my home is totally surrounded by woods. I like that.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. It sounds great. So what I'm doing today is I want to feature you on my podcast.
I have been really busy. This is pretty exciting for an 86-year-old. I am involved in setting up at least 3 times a week television, either a program or 5-minute segments on a daily program. I've gone to Pensacola to Channel 33, and it's part of a network. So I've been really hoping that would go well. So what I'm saying is I've been giving my time to that.
Congratulations on that television.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I have the perfect press release for it. I've already written it. And the title is 86-year-old begins new career.
I love it.
That would make someone want to read.
Yeah.
The purpose of that is and the purpose of the things I do is to encourage others my age to stay active as long as possible. Too many reach a certain age and they say, well, I'm old now, my life is over, and they just stop everything. I can't imagine how miserable they must be.
Absolutely, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today. Your story is very inspiring. Can you tell us, first of all, how long you've been a writer? You've been a writer for quite a while, is that correct?
Yes, I started doing freelance writing probably 50 years ago, 51 years ago, when I was about 35. And I was delighted to have a few articles accepted, and that just spurred me on. Because during that time, I had felt like a failure in so many ways. So to be able to write something that publishers, whether it was a freelance article or whatever, could use was very encouraging to me. So I didn't stop. I just kept on going.
Yeah, and it was a completely different time for a freelance writer back then because there was no internet.
Right, right.
Do you think it's easier today or more advantageous for the freelancer to have the internet today?
Well, it all depends on their attitude and their ambition. I have already decided to myself that I will search out the possibilities for writers' markets. Of course, there is an annual writers' market that lists all the markets of all publishing. So that's a great help to a writer. They can look at magazines or book publishers or whatever, newsletters or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you involved in any associations, like writing associations?
I don't think I am now. I have been in the past, but since I moved to the woods, I just stay here in my own little world. But I reach out through my computer. That's my way of reaching out. So
let's talk about your books. Now, you have written several books. How many books have you written?
7.
7 total. Okay. Can you tell us about your first book? I think it was in 89. It was published in 1989 called Who Do You Think You Are? Can you tell us what that book is about?
Yes. It's about your opinion of yourself, your self-confidence. You know, life can sometimes cause us, or the words or the actions of others can cause us to lose all hope for success in our activities, because it's easy when you don't feel secure to allow the words and actions of others to tear you down, knock you down further. Mm-hmm. I want to spend my time lifting people up, encouraging them. In fact, years ago, I wrote and produced a radio program. It started out weekly, and then I made it daily. Encouragement for today's woman. No, I'm not a feminist, not at all. But I knew many women who had been literally knocked down in life by experience or by their, quote, loved ones, unquote. And sometimes those experiences can cause us to lose self-confidence. And it's often easy to give up. You know, if someone tells you every day that you're ugly and stupid, you know you aren't, but after hearing it for a long, long time, you almost begin to believe it, and you lose confidence that you're capable of doing anything.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about domestic abuse, and I believe one of your books, it's your fiction book called The House of Esther, is covers this topic. Was this written from your own experience?
Yes, I've been there. That's why I can cover many subjects. I really think I'm best at writing self-help because so many need encouragement. They might not even realize it, and many of them might not admit it. But truly, life can be very painful, and you lose hope. So a few words of encouragement can make the difference in someone's life. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So is your book, The House of Esther, is that an encouraging book for people that have been abused? For women, I should say?
Yes, might even wish it could be. You can get to that point. I've been there twice. But when you realize that, hey, these people around me are wanting me to give up, and that little stubborn streak came out, and I said, I'm not about to. And I started doing my thing then.
Fantastic. Now, all of these books that we're talking about today are still available. Can you tell us where people can find your books?
All of them are available on Amazon.com.
All right.
Yes. One that I especially like is, it's about, as I said, I've lived in the country. I do now. But I grew up in the country, which was a terrific basis for me because I learned a lot that I would not have learned had I lived in the city. But anyway, one of my, let me, hold on just a moment.
Sure.
Anyway, one of the books, The Golden Olden Days, I forgot what year it was published, but it's literally about growing up, country life in the 1930s and 40s. It's entertaining, and for city people, it might sound strange or informative or something new, but it's really very interesting.
Because so it helps city people to know what it's like to live out in the country.
Yes.
All right.
The thing is, when I was a kid, I didn't have toys. I never had a doll. My dad wasn't big on getting toys, so we had to entertain ourselves, which was actually in some ways good because it brought out our capacity to face the day. I never had a bicycle. I always wanted a bicycle, but I never had one, never had a doll, didn't have many toys at all. We, as I said, we entertained ourselves, and that's why that book might be interesting to those who live in this I want everything day.
Back then, when you were a child or, into your teens, did you think about being a writer back then?
Oh, no. I loved school. I loved school ever since I started at age 4. I began my senior year at age 15, and I was 16 December 1st and graduated the following May 26th. But I've always loved school. After my 5 children were grown and gone, I got an AA degree in journalism. And actually, I've been in touch with other colleges to see about getting a BA online, simply because I still enjoy learning. I believe as long as we're breathing, we can learn something every day. I like the challenge.
Right.
Making good grades at my age. So I might go after a BA. I don't know. I still read 5 books a week. That's all the local library allows. So now in Central Florida, you can get 50. That's 50 items at the time. But here, our local library only allows 5. So I'm there every week to get 5 more books.
Wow, that's fantastic. Are you a speed reader?
I need to read more so than I need to eat. We'll put it that way.
Oh, wow. So When did you said you were 35 when you started writing. What made you at that age, what made you turn to writing at that age?
Uh, at that time, I didn't have many people to talk to. Maybe I was just pouring my heart out on paper. I don't know. But while I was in Miami, I had already started college in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went back to Miami and went to South Campus. And it was my way of communicating because sometimes when you say we need to talk, someone else will say there's nothing to talk about. So you can't resolve anything with that attitude.
What were you doing career-wise in 1989 when you published your first book?
I was just hoping that I could succeed at writing because I had had a few freelance articles published, and it was the opinion one has of oneself really will determine their future. And it was important to me to share with others who had been down and out to encourage them, don't give up, because your best years could be in the future, as mine were.
Yeah. In 1989, with your first book, was that a self-published book, or did you have a publisher?
Yes. No. You know what? I don't even have an agent. And I tried a few times to get an agent. Most of them won't even reply when I give them the details. It's my opinion that they think at my age I wouldn't be very beneficial to them.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That didn't stop me either. As long as I'm enjoying relative good health, I just go to the doctor once every year and a half, and we laugh and joke. I said, well, I hadn't seen you for a while. I came by to see how you're doing. So, anyway,
Yeah.
I do have Parkinson's, and I have skin cancer, but so far, neither of those have stopped me either. Otherwise, I'm very healthy to be 86.
It sounds like it, definitely.
I'm mobile. I did stop driving when I was 80, and nobody told me to. I was trying to be sensible about it. So
Yeah.
I used to drive to Miami and Atlanta and Tampa and Nashville, all over. I don't mind being an old lady, but I really miss driving.
Yeah, so what are your writing plans going forward, Lura?
I'm presently working on 2 books, both fiction, and actually I'm planning on doing a freelance article about the advantage of working on 2 at a time. Usually when someone writes a book, they just hone in on that one thing. But, there is an advantage, and that is that it gives me a choice according to my mood. Today, I might not be in the mood to work on one book or one subject, but I might be exactly in the mood to work on the other one. So I find that not only interesting, but beneficial.
Yeah, I find that beneficial as a blogger as well. You have different articles, or what we call posts, in the works at the same time, and you work on what catches your mood the most, in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times. There's nothing wrong with that.
I just recently typed a list. I have maybe 25 things on items on it, things to talk about, or write about. I can do either or both.
Yeah. Have you ever, you were talking earlier about, you said pouring your heart out on paper, which is, I think, what every aspiring writer wants to do. What do you think about today with the tool called the blog?
I think it could be very, and is very beneficial to the readers. The blog is different from writing a book because you can use different subjects, shorter items, and I think the length of the blog might depend on the writer. Sometimes you might put out 500 or 700 words out in a flash, but then, like articles, doing syndicated articles, I think they usually want about 1,500 words. That's more difficult. So it takes more effort, and I think the blog is much more effective. It still gives you the opportunity to write and intermix with other people, and sometimes they might reply, sometimes they might not.
Yeah, I know you and I have talked a little bit through email about blogging, and I was just curious. Are you planning to start a blog in the near future?
Yes. It will be called Our Later Years.
Sounds good.
Sadly, a lot of people my age don't read. I have known people, although I couldn't understand it, I've known people that haven't read a book in 20 years. I don't know how they're existing instead of living, to me, in my estimation. But I think just as a first grader needs to be urged on by parents, I find that older people also need great encouragement, and that's where I come in. I am an older person, and I know, as I said, I believe too many reach a certain age, and they tell themselves, I'm old now, my life is over, and they just simply stop. They stop all activity.
Yeah.
I would rather go on than do that.
What does your daily writing routine look like? Can you kind of give us a scenario?
I work on my desktop probably an average of 3 hours a day.
Okay.
And I'm reading 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And if I get a good book, which actually I don't often get books that I can't put down, but I love it when I get one of those. Yes. I might read till midnight or 3, or I might go to bed at 8 o'clock and just read for an hour, But I read night and day. This morning, about 2 o'clock, I woke up. I couldn't go back to sleep. I turned my lamp on, and I read for over an hour. So.
Wow. So,
I'm thinking that with all this reading, I could be using it to get a BA. I can read school books as well as other things.
Right. Right. Are you the type of person that writes first thing in the morning, or do you write later in the evening?
The first thing, because my mind is fresh. I often, when I wake up at night, I often get ideas. I have learned to keep alert for new ideas, and I often have a list of 4 or 5 things that I want to write about, which is terrific.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Do you keep any type of content or not content or like a writing schedule? Do you keep track of your writing schedule of some sort?
Mentally, I might. I don't keep a written track because I usually live alone. Presently, my second son is here. He's 59. But normally I live alone. I do everything necessary. As soon as I have my coffee, I go to my computer and do my thing. And sometimes I really enjoy having coffee on my front porch and looking at the woods, just enjoying watching the birds. I love nature and the beauty of nature. And it doesn't take much to entertain me these days. I was supposed to get remarried last June to a classmate from 75 years earlier, but we had been in touch nearly 2 years, and he fell and then passed away 2 weeks before we were to get married in June.
Aw, I'm sorry about that.
It was sad, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever put things like that into your stories, your personal experiences?
I haven't done that yet. I am working on a book on the story of my life.
Oh, okay.
If you know about the story of the woman at the well in the Bible.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay. The tentative title I have is Another Woman, Another Well.
Oh.
Because I literally identify with her in many ways. And I've learned a lot. And in fact, just a few days I thought, I need to write an article about life is really a series of lessons. We learn how to live by living.
We learn how to live by living.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
and
profound.
We have lessons. They might be painful, they might be joyful, but we learn something. If they're joyful, we learn to be more appreciative of little things. And if they're painful, we learn too, maybe to avoid that in the future, But I have decided that life is actually a series of lessons.
Yeah, Laura, when you're ready to start your blog, you know that I'm here to help you at buildyourownblog.net. I think it would be great if you were also able to share some of these other personal stories on a blog. I think that would just be fabulous.
How many words would you suggest?
Well, I think that would be really up to you starting out. I actually, you're an experienced writer, and I wouldn't necessarily worry about word count. My guess is your stories are probably going to end up being over 500 words for sure. So that's definitely long enough.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a big advocate of real short posts unless they're just like got some super profound piece of advice or something really entertaining in a matter of a few sentences. Normally, a post should be 300 to 600 words at least, and then there's nothing wrong with a 4,000 word post if it's well done and that's what your audience likes.
Well, I prefer the shorter posts.
Mm-hmm.
And you can fairly well cover the subject and get your point across if you have thought about it. And I do a lot of things mentally. I have them together in my mind before I put them on paper. We'll put it that way.
Okay, right. You have sort of like a mental outline.
Right. Yes. Because you can plan it. Like if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's too early for coffee sometimes. Then if I think of something to write about, I will immediately start considering the points I want to get across and literally arranging it in my mind exactly what I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great, too, if on your blog maybe you shared some of your writing tips.
Right.
And
And I'm a little weird, but that's okay. When I have a speaking date, I never make notes.
Yeah?
Because if I had to look down to my notes, by the time I found out where I am in my notes, I might lose my audience. So, again, I have to keep a mental, page in my mind, where I am and where I'm trying to go. Unless you know that, you're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. Well, Laura, I'm going to be linking in the show notes to your Amazon author page where people can find all your books. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing your blog down the road. We'll be keeping in touch. And I'll let people know when your blog starts.
Right. I have wondered, should I just do it on Facebook or do I go to your website to start it?
Oh, yeah. You start the setup guide is on my website, Build Your Own Blog.
I've read that. Yeah, I have all that. And my blog will, I think enjoying our later years brings a whole new attitude. Too many people think, I had a sister that if anyone mentioned age, she would leave the room. Too many have the negative attitude about getting older. Well, do they realize if they aren't getting older, they're not here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
we
profound.
might as well learn to enjoy it instead of hating our later years. Learn to enjoy them. And I'm so glad. I love my life now. I wouldn't be 35 again for all the money in this world.
That's incredible.
It is because I love the challenge. So many have told me I could never do what you do. And I said, well, I just do it. I don't know. I've done many things I didn't know how to do, but unless I try, I'll never learn. So I just walk in, flying to the bat, and, even when I do speaking dates, as I said, I don't keep notes. I just say, well, as I got older, I'm closer to God, and I do Christian books. And actually, I've written about 15 gospel songs, and I have no training in that area. But I was a nightclub singer for about 5 years. And I love music. I love listening to music. It's very soothing.
Mm-hmm.
And used to love to dance. I thought I couldn't live without dancing. But now I wouldn't dare. I mean, to do any energetic dancing. But anyway, I have learned that unless you are willing to try something, you never will do anything. If you're afraid to try, you're going to stay right in that negative area all your life. So I've told many, I've done so many things I didn't know how to do because I was willing to try. And the more I do it, the more I learn. So
the more you did it, the more you learned.
Right. You learn, and if it means a great deal to you, you will find other sources of learning to do it better.
That's right. Lura Zerick is an 86-year-old writer who has big plans to continue with her writing. She's currently working on 2 novels and plans to start a new blog very, very soon.
And I told you the press release. The press release I'm going to write when I start the television spot,
right,
will be 86-year-old starts new career.
Yeah. She's even writing her own press releases. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I can do that very well.
Yes, you can, because if I saw that title, I would probably click on it.
Want to read it, and it might inspire others, if others my age, to say, she could do something like that, so can I. Who knows?
Absolutely. That's what I'm hoping for. I know a lot of listeners to the Blog Chronicles are people either retired or getting close to retirement. The retirement blog niche is a growing niche, and I see your blog fitting into that niche very well. Yes.
The older group, as I said, our later years, they can be exciting and beneficial and exhilarating and bring that priceless thing called a sense of achievement.
Yes, very good. Well, Lura, thanks for coming on today, and I wish you lots of success down the road, and we'll be keeping an eye out for your new blog.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes and leave a rating or review to help other bloggers find us. If you do want to chat, look me up on Twitter @Matt Loomis. So who is going to be my next guest on the Blog Chronicles? He's an experienced veteran in the SEO and social media space. He began experimenting and practicing these disciplines back in 1994, when internet marketing and SEO was not even a buzzword. He is himself a speaker at conferences such as PubCon and HostingCon, and has worked with such clients as Seagate, Hostway, ValueWeb, GoDaddy, iPower, Endurance International Group, SoftLayer, Codemasters, and D3 Publishers. We are going to specifically talk about the social media platform Google+. Our guest has been a Google Plus fan and evangelist since it started. He still is today, and we're going to find out why he says bloggers should still use Google Plus to gain website traffic and find new audiences. I'll see you back here next time.